Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for checking the video out today. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover here today. A few of the different topics we're covering: Sony seems to have partnered with yet another studio to work on another AAA PS5 exclusive. This was recently discovered. We're talking about a new PS5 Unity tech demo that showcases some impressive graphics. We're also talking about some court documents that seem to reveal Microsoft admitting the Xbox One did in fact sell less than half of the amount of PS4s within its life cycle. And we have a few other topics beyond that to cover as well. So before we dive into them, do me a big favor. If you do end up enjoying this video or finding it informative, be sure to leave it a like. Helps the videos out more than you know. But diving into the first topic here, we have what seems to be yet another AAA studio that has signed on to create an exclusive game for PlayStation. This is something that we have continued to see Sony do. It's becoming a bit of a pattern where not only are we seeing veteran game development talent kind of get together and form these studios to create something that they want to create, something they think is interesting or new and fresh, and Sony kind of walking in and striking a deal and saying, hey, you know, we really like what you guys are doing. You're veterans, you know what you're doing. We'll give you some funding, we'll sign a deal, and you'll make your game exclusively for PlayStation. So this is reading from Push Square, where it says, some seriously impressive sleuthing on Reset Era suggests Sony has signed English developer Ballistic Moon to create a PS5 exclusive. The Farnborough-based firm, founded in 2019, claims on its LinkedIn page that it's working with a world-leading publisher on an exciting Unreal Engine 5 project. Earlier in the month, it posted up photographs of a motion capture session, and the actress, playing two different characters, Emily and Hannah, listed the work on her portfolio as Project Bates, published by none other than Sony Interactive Entertainment. Fascinatingly, the director is listed as Joshua Archer, who has worked on games such as Horizon Zero Dawn and Until Dawn, both PlayStation exclusives of course. It's likely that this game is being overseen by Sony XDev, the Liverpool-based unit responsible for exclusives developed outside of the PlayStation Studios family. It's previously collaborated with teams such as Quantic Dream on titles like Detroit Become Human. While the developer's website is seriously impressive, we'd recommend you check it out. There's very little information on what it's actually working on. The studio's founders Neil McEwen, Chris Lamb, and Duncan Kershaw have a fairly eclectic background, having worked on projects such as House of the Dead Overkill and Heavy Rain. The game is being described in its early stages and having emotive performances, however. As part of an MCV interview published in 2021, it's reported that the team were able to create and pitch out a strong concept and project, which subsequently was signed off by a well-known publisher relatively quickly. This is what co-founder Neil McEwen said: we collectively want to create games which emotionally resonate with people and mean something to them, not just something disposable which they move on from. So the article concludes by saying, clearly the release isn't ready to be announced just yet, but we're impressed by the sheer amount of information compiled here. Hats off to Tamari for putting it all together. It sounds like this could potentially be a narrative-driven adventure game similar to The Quarry, although that's just us making assumptions based on the back catalog of some of the staff involved. The studio is hiring aggressively though, and even mentions it's relocating soon. So yeah, this is a pretty significant find, and I'm impressed as well that, you know, some individuals on the internet were able to put this together, because it's very clear by this point that this is yet another one of these scenarios where veteran talent gets together, they have big ambition, Sony recognizes this, they identify it, they move in, they see the potential, and they want to get in on the ground floor and be a part of it. And I mean, it's awesome to see this stuff, right? Because this is exactly what I think PlayStation should be doing, and it's great to see that they're continuing to do that. We've seen them do it throughout all of PlayStation's history. More recently, you think about them acquiring the likes of Bluepoint and Housemarque, and that was, you know, Sony showing their faith in these studios during the PS3 generation, the PS4 generation, and after they proved themselves, they were like, you know what? We want to make you part of the first-party family. And they certainly earned it, and it seems like Sony is doing that once again here. But something I do want to point out that seems a little bit different now with the gaming industry is, again, we are seeing more and more veteran developers kind of breaking away to create their own studios, and because they have so much pull within the industry, they're able to kind of, bring a following with them, and they're more easily able to convince other talented developers to come work for them rather than say anybody else, right? So as for the name of the project, they're calling it Project Bates. This has people assuming it's going to be something relating to horror, which I think would be awesome. You think of like Bates Motel, Alfred Hitchcock. So yeah, this is something I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on, and I wanted to be sure to let everybody know about it because, as we saw with Haven, if Sony is impressed enough, they will acquire these studios. A lot of people are thinking that maybe Sony's going to end up acquiring Deviation at some point, and yeah, I love to see this stuff, so we'll see what comes of this. Moving on to the next topic, though, we're talking about a new PS5 Unity tech demo that showcases impressive graphics upgrades. Reading from PlayStation Lifestyle, while the PS5 is already capable of outputting some pretty incredible graphics, it's expected that those visuals will improve as developers grow into the hardware and the engines they use evolve to better make use of the power on offer. One such engine is Unity, which has seen one of the biggest evolutions yet by joining forces with tools from Weta Digital, Ziva, SpeedTree, and SyncSketch. What does this all mean for the everyday PlayStation gamer? Well, better graphics for future games that use the Unity engine. In the new tech demo called Lion Unity Art Tools, we see a realistic lion interacting with a realistic cub. What makes it so impressive is that it's running in real time at 4K 30 FPS on PS5. In the past, creators would have to wait for a scene like this to render out, which would take much more time than the scene itself to play. Now, with the aid of Unity Art Tools, these images can be processed in real time and outputted at a smooth 4K 30 FPS on the PS5 hardware. It says here that the Unity blog post dives fully into all the details. However, for those looking for a quick breakdown, the tech demo shows off features like deformation of the animals, high fidelity foliage, realistic fur, advanced global illumination, hair simulation, and advanced lighting. So as you can see, game engines are continuing to evolve and advance and find new ways to take full advantage, or get close to taking full advantage, of the hardware that's on offer with the PS5. So as for when we're going to see this implemented into games, well, we're almost there. As we know, this generation got off to a bit of a bumpy start for many different reasons, and I think because of that, game developers as well as publishers and with their game engines, it's been taking a little bit longer than normal. It usually does take a little bit at the start, and so hopefully going into 2023 and beyond, we're really going to start to see things ramp up. But nonetheless, I wanted to share this with you guys. Next up, we're talking about how the Xbox One sold less than half of the PS4 in its life cycle. This is what a court document is revealing. Reading from PlayStation Universe, it says, according to court documents from Microsoft's defense of its planned acquisition of Activision Blizzard, the Xbox One sold less than half the numbers of the PS4 during its life cycle, all but confirming that Sony won that particular console generation quite comfortably. A rough translation of the court papers regarding the sales figures reads, quote, Sony has surpassed Microsoft in terms of console sales and install base, having sold more than twice as many than Xbox in the last generation, end quote. Given that Sony has recently confirmed that the PS4 sold 117.2 million units worldwide, we can assume that the Xbox One has moved around 58.5 million units during its lifetime. So this isn't necessarily like a shocker, I think, to anybody, but it pretty much does confirm finally that, yeah, the Xbox One didn't get anywhere near to the same amount of units sold as the PS4. And, some people were wondering if it was maybe a lot higher than we thought, if it maybe kind of made a comeback towards the end. But unfortunately for Microsoft, that's just not what happened. Them saying that it sold about half, yeah, that would put it at, between 50 and 60 million units somewhat. So it's unlikely Microsoft will ever reveal the actual numbers. But, this generation is off to a very different start. And so, we'll see if we see maybe Microsoft end in a much better spot by the time this generation's done. I think the PS5 can still pass 100 million units when it's all said and done. I also think the Xbox Series console will do significantly better than the Xbox One when it's all said and done. And so, yeah, I just hope that in the end, consoles continue to sell well and we see a healthy and thriving console market. The final topic here talks about Jeff Keighley setting expectations for Gamescom 2022. From PlayStation Lifestyle, Jeff Keighley is just coming off another successful Summer Game Fest, and it's likely already beginning to gear up for the Game Awards, but before that, he'll be hosting Opening Night Live at Gamescom 2022. Keighley has set some expectations for players for the upcoming event while speaking during a Twitter Space session. Transcribed by VGC, Keighley said more than 20 games will be on stage. It's going to be a big spectacle. We have some very cool guests that are coming to Germany to join us on stage, as well as to reveal their games and showcase new content. Some of the announcements Keighley noted are games that weren't ready for Summer Game Fest, but are ready to go for Gamescom. We've got some good stuff, Jeff Keighley said. We haven't really announced the lineup of companies that will be there, but I think we've got some cool surprises and things that I think people wouldn't expect to be there. There are lots of games. We're going to have 2 hours of content to show you, gameplay clips, trailers, and announcements. I think people will be hyped, and I'm very excited for fans to see stuff and be in the room. So yeah, again, Jeff Keighley kind of doing his job, hyping up Gamescom. It's really difficult to determine whether or not we should believe him. A lot of times people end up feeling a little bit burned, sometimes maybe really burned by Jeff Keighley and what he's saying. And, let's be honest here, he's definitely hyping this up. I mean, he's saying there's going to be stuff that we wouldn't expect to be there. He's really making it sound like it's going to be exciting, that they have a lot of really cool stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he should be, making it sound like it's going to be boring or anything like that. But, I'm just wondering how big Gamescom's actually going to be. To me, the most interesting thing to pull from this is the fact that he's saying that they have stuff ready to reveal that they wanted to have for Summer Game Fest, but wasn't quite ready. So that, to me, is interesting. That could be something, maybe worth paying attention to. But, nonetheless, I'll be streaming Gamescom here on the channel. We can react to it together. But let me know your thoughts on that. That does it for the video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you did find it informative. Again, if you did, leave it a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.